Hey guys, it is William with Stardust Drive, founder, producer of Stardust Drive. I'm here to get you guys a bit of an update video. It's been a little while since I've done an update video. In fact, it's been I'd say maybe like 4 or 5 months since I've been on camera with my face. And there's a couple of things that I do want to kind of clear the air about, as in terms of why there hasn't been as much content on the channel in the last couple of months. We've been trying to get back into the flow of it recently, well, myself and Carter mostly, but I want to just fill you guys in on what is going on and these changes that have kind of slowly been weaving their way into everybody's lives. To start, back in the beginning of April, I recently moved out of my basement apartment I was living in with my girlfriend, and we moved out a little farther north. So I'm a little farther away from a lot of my friends and family, so I don't see them as often as I would like to. That being said, it also affected the amount of videos that were being pumped out onto the channel, as well as the amount of podcast videos, seeing as how we went from a place where we had internet included in our bundle to we had to start paying for internet and all these other necessities. And also just the move itself and getting used to the schedule, because I still work 2 jobs on the side. So that was another thing that we had to take into consideration. As well, for other, basically what I've been doing recently is, I've been wrapping my brain around what exactly to do with Stardust Drive, because at the present moment, it's really been me and Carter pumping out content onto the channel. The podcast is not reoccurring as I would have liked it to be when we had started out. So the plan now with the podcast is still up in the air. And this is something that I may need to discuss with the guys, because I would still love to do podcasts. It's all a matter of just figuring out the best schedule for everybody, and I know I've said that a number of times in the past, but there's just been a lot of changes in everybody's lives. Everybody's growing up, everybody's moving on to different things. Not a lot of people are available, and there's other things that we all want to try. Myself, I recently got back into writing, so I've been doing a lot more writing at my job, but also trying to do it more in my spare time with short stories, with blog posts. You can check out my blog. It's wkey.wordpress.com. So I try to write a lot of feature opinion pieces on there, just to kind of keep myself in the know with at least video games, comics, movies, anything that interests me. Any of the content that we would have seen on the Stardust Drive Productions / GTA Gamers page, which, to also let you know, we did recently close down the domain for gta-gamers.org, seeing as how we weren't doing anything with it. It just became kind of an empty shell of which we stuck podcast highlights and the occasional podcast up. But because we're not doing the podcast on a regular basis, it was just collecting dust. So I decided to close the domain. It saved us about $90 a year right there. So I mean, we can put that towards something else maybe. Now, of course, like I said, I'm speaking for myself, but I'm also going to kind of touch upon, from my perspective, what everybody else has been up to. And then when we want to do an official, crew video, maybe, to talk about where we've been and what the plans are, maybe it may even come out in a podcast, who knows. We will do that. Just to touch upon where everybody else has been, Carter has actually been back in art. He's also working part-time still at Michelangelo's. He's also working full-time with Jessica on the Girl in the Game channel. He's a recurring guest on some of her video game videos, as well as he's a regular voice on her Girl in a Podcast. So he's been working full-time with that, but he's also been doing his own stuff on his own channel. So you can check him out. I'll even put a link in the description below. It's just his name, Carter Key. He's doing some doing some good stuff. He's actually doing some editing, which is nice. He's still doing some art on his Facebook page, so I might even plug that here. But it's good for him. You know, he's keeping himself busy, which is good. Over to Anthony. Anthony's still on his regular night shift, so he's working full-time on night shifts. So we haven't seen him as much, but you know, when we do, we have a hell of a time. As well as with Chris, you know, he's still keeping full-time working on his Twitch channel and getting his name out there, his opportunity. I'll stick his Twitch and his YouTube channel below. Still doing very well, closing in on that 3,000 follower mark on his Twitch channel. Again, he's also working at Starbucks, so he's making the money there, and he's going to be going back to school in the fall, which is going to be excellent for him. As well as some of our other recurring guests that we've had on, like Adam. Adam's still working full-time. David has just finished school, so he's back to work. Jared, we haven't seen him in a little while, but I'm hoping to reconnect with him and David soon times. We've been trying to figure out a time to actually meet up, so I'm going to speak with them shortly. And as well as Mark. Mark kind of hangs around, you know. He was only on one podcast, but he hangs around. As well as Eric Wickham, who is on one of our podcasts as well. He is doing his own, I think he's working in Oakville, I believe, from what I've seen. Just finished journalism school, so he's keeping himself busy. So that's kind of a summary of what the crew have been up to. Like I said, everybody's busy. There's different things happening in people's lives. And the main thing I want to reiterate is that it kind of came to a point when I moved out that the only time I really got to see my friends when I was first living out in Milton was when I would come down and we would do the podcast together, and I realized that wasn't really the way I wanted it to go. You know, I've built long-lasting friendships with a lot of people, some of which I would like to call my best friends, some of them I would call mutual friends, acquaintances, so on and so forth. And I don't want something like a YouTube channel that may or may not go anywhere to get in the way of that. You know, we came together to collaborate on this, and it's something that we do in our spare time because we enjoy doing it, that whether or not we have people watching. It's just more for us to get around the table and start discussing the things that we enjoy to do on our day-to-day lives. So that was something that we had done. We did 28 episodes so far, possibly more to come, but I can't confirm anything. You know, it all depends on the availability of us. But I can tell you that the podcast has lessened in terms of importance in my mind. It's also, I think, lessened in importance to everybody else. That's not a bad thing, because I feel like it's a stage in our life that we have grown to appreciate and grown to love, and we have a lot of memories from it. And we may make a lot more memories in the future. And who knows what the podcast will grow to become as time goes on. It'll always be something I hold near and dear to my heart. A podcast was something I'd always wanted to do when I really got running on YouTube, like a couple of years in. I thought to myself, like, man, I would love to host a podcast. And I would love to, I kind of thought of myself and my friends as similar to the guys from 4Player Podcast, so we kind of model ourselves after them. At least in my mind, we kind of model ourselves after them. So that, again, that's just the way things are going right now. As for other content, there hasn't been any episodes of Breakdown in the past half a year. Would love to get back into Breakdown. Just to reiterate as well, another issue I've been having the last couple of weeks is my regular editing software has been crapping out on me, so I've had to go back and use Windows Movie Maker. Now, I had purchased this editing software, Magix, about 5 years ago when I got back into YouTube, and it did me well throughout my years on Will 173, as well as Stardust Drive, editing the podcast, editing all the videos that you see on the channel. But more recently, all the Poor Man's Gaming that you've seen have been on Windows Movie Maker as of the last month. So that's why I haven't been able to put any complicated edited videos out. And this may not even be a complicated edited video, it might just be a straight thing. So we'll see. So until I figure out the situation with editing, I do have a goal before the end of the year, as I probably mentioned on some other video, that come December I want to do like a 10-year retrospective, because it'll be my 10 years of making videos on YouTube. I started back on Christmas Eve 2006, so I want to collect a bunch of videos that I've edited and put them into a big montage, you know, featuring stuff I've done, featuring stuff I've done with my friends, with family, with the pets, and various events and soirees that we've been out to, and all the fun stuff. As well, Poor Man's Gaming is also something that I've been doing on a regular basis. In fact, it might be the main show right now that's going. It's the easiest thing to edit and put up on the channel at this point, because it doesn't require a lot of complicated edits. As well, I've cut out the end cards from Poor Man's Gaming just because it didn't really gain any traction. It didn't really garner anything new. But I've been trying to post the videos onto Reddit as well as to more frequently on Twitter and Facebook when I do. And my Spyro the Dragon playthrough so far has collected some pretty solid views. Just, I believe, and it's because I've been posting on Reddit, so I'm going to continue to do that with anything I post. So that is the summary for Poor Man's Gaming. That's the summary for Breakdown. Other shows, I have no plans for other shows. At the moment, I've literally whittled away everything else that I really want to do, and I think I've kind of narrowed my focus a little bit more. You know, over the years I've been a man to try everything, fail at some, be successful at others, and I think when December comes and I get that 10-year retrospective video up, you'll see that there have been a lot of ups, there have been a lot of downs, and there have been a lot of memories collected. I'm not doing it for you, the fans, in a way I am, but in a way I'm doing it more for me. It's a celebration of my own accomplishments, because it's also a celebration of all the time and dedication that I put into editing videos to be able to post. And you know, just see what kind of attention it's drawn. And there's been some videos that have skyrocketed in terms of views, others that have just, you know, whittled away and just became dust in the wind, essentially. So yeah, I'm gonna collect snippets from all my videos and put them into a montage for you guys, and I might do I'm thinking of doing maybe a reaction video as well with a bunch of the Stardust Drive people. I think that was a plan that I also wanted to do, because it isn't just about me. There have been people that have been with me since the beginning. You know, Carter and Anthony and Chris. They've all been there. You know, I've got them, you know, in memories as well. And like I said, I've known them for a long time. They've always been in my corner. So that's just something else that I feel like is going to be a tribute to those guys as well. It's going to be a tribute to kind of the origins and the build-up of Stardust Drive into where we are today. You know, it's watching some of those old videos. I've seen myself grow up as well. So it's been pretty amazing to watch. So you know, I'll let you guys go for now, but I just wanted to give you guys that update, and just to let you know that, you know, if you guys have been watching this long, you know, just keep watching, just keep supporting us for whatever we do, and you know, hopefully there'll be an impasse, and then maybe, you know, a breakout in something, and we might do something new. We might more time, like all the pieces might fall into place, and we may be able to have more time to do more stuff for you guys. At the moment, it's a little light. Everything's a little hectic, crazy in people's lives, and I know I've had a lot of stuff going on recently. So, and that's, I mean, obviously that's no excuse for anybody, but I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I'm only part-time, so that's just something that to keep in mind as well. Thank you guys for tuning in, and you know, I hope to see you on the YouTubes. Peace out.